For years, financial planners have told everybody you have at least 6 months of your money in the bank. Nobody did that because money was so cheap for a while. About a year ago, you changed your advice on all of this, correct?
The advice started to change because if you paid off your credit cards and now they close you down, and when they're closing you down, it hurts your FICO score. Now your FICO score is going down, so now you can't open up other credit cards, and that happens at the same time you lose your job, you get in a car accident, something happens, and you don't have an emergency fund. What are you going to do?
Yeah, there's no access to credit.
That's right. So the advice became pay the minimum on your credit cards until you have an 8-month emergency fund. Well, the financial pundits that started to take me to task about that. That is the worst advice we ever saw. Liz, Pullman Cohn, whatever her name is, right? It was like she wrote such an article about, I could not disagree with Suze more. You should save money, you know, after you've paid off your credit card. Oh, give me a break. We are in a new reality. We are in a new normal. We are at a time where if you don't save yourself and take care of yourself, these financial institutions are not going to do it.
Credit cards. Your credit unions and credit cards. What's your take on that?
I've been very instrumental in creating what's called the debtor's revolt. Either your financial institution treats you with respect, or you vote in the only way that you have power. You move your account. You open up a credit card somewhere else. You do not have to stay and be mistreated in the same way when you're in a relationship and you're being abused. You better get yourself out of that door. The same is true with any financial institution that does not respect you. So here's the thing. I think it is important right now that every person, besides the credit cards that you have at banks, because you don't want to close down credit cards because it will hurt your FICO score, you want to open up a credit card at a credit union. Do you know that federally chartered credit unions can't charge you more than 18% by law? 21% if they're state chartered. Therefore, if you did a balance transfer to a credit union credit card, and anybody can join a credit union, you have a good chance of getting respectable interest rates. They're not going to close you down when you pay off your credit card debt. They're going to treat you in a way that you should be treated because you're a member. You're a member of that credit union. So what I would advise everybody to do is go to creditcardconnection.org. It is a new website that has just started that's unbiased. The credit unions can't pay to be involved in this website like they can with many of the other websites that are referring it. Not all credit unions are good. There are some really bad credit unions out there. So go to creditcardconnection.org and only get yourself a credit card at a credit union that's highly rated on that website and that website only.
3 documents you say everyone should have. What are they?
Now, here's the thing. We're watching this right now, you live in the state of California. The state of California has statutory probate fees. If all you have is a will, and your will says, my house is to go to my children, and I die, even if that house was only $200,000, and I owed $200,000 on it. Do you know that statutory probate fees would be $10,300 for my children to inherit that house? If I don't have the money to pay, or if they don't have the money to pay, the lawyers can go and sell the house and take anything that they want to be paid first. So therefore, in the state of California, not only do you need a will, but you absolutely need a living revocable trust with an incapacity clause in it, and you also need a durable power of attorney for health care. Do you also know that most health insurance policies have a maximum in terms of what they will pay out? Could be $1 million or $2 million. You get in an accident, you're on life support in the hospital. You don't have a durable power of attorney of health care or an advance directive. Now the doctors can't do anything because you can't sign for yourself or talk for yourself. How long do you think it's going to take you to rack up $1 million worth of bills when you're on life support? Not long. Now you're on life support, nobody can do anything about it. Now your family's responsible. You need a will, a living revocable trust with an incapacity clause and a durable power of attorney for health care and an advance directive. All of those is what you need, especially in the state of California.
You used to offer a packet that had all of that. Do you still have that?
I still have that, and just because I like you, Michael Finney, your viewers right now can go to SuzeOrman.com, click on the left-hand side where they see Will and Trust Kit. Click there. They will say gift login code. If they go there and they put in the guest code that is Mike, put in Mike for you, M-I-K-E. For the next week, they can download the Will and Trust Kit, which is over $2,500 worth of state-of-the-art documents right here in California. Fabulous. They can download it for free, just for you, Mike.
Sweet. Very good deal.
That's great. See, go to our website, type in Mike, special Mike discount, and then you get all those documents for free. Well, Michael Finney is here now to talk more about his chat with Suze Orman. Okay, she mentioned this emergency fund. 8 months? That's a little bit much, isn't it?
You know, I've got to tell you, back in the day when you would always hear keep 6 months, I used to say don't keep a dime because it's better to have it working for you, and because there was credit, it was everywhere. You know, bad credit, no problem. Not anymore. And so she was one of the first to get out there and say, if not the first, to get out there and say you've got to have an emergency fund. It's got to be a serious amount of money. Most people now that get unemployed, they go longer than 6 months before they work again.
Okay,
wow.
So
yeah, that's true.
It's like 6 1/3 months or something like that.
That's scary, yeah.
So you better have at least 6 months. And what she says that is so controversial, which I completely agree with, is don't pay off your credit cards. Get an emergency fund first.
Really? I thought you always should pay off your credit cards first.
When you could go get credit if you got laid off and live off of that,
days,
yes, you would want to pay off high interest rates of 18% or whatever. But now they're not going to give you credit. So what's going to happen to you if you get unemployed? I mean, this is a different world. So you've got to get that pile of money that your grandparents had. You've got to get that pile of money going. And not invested. I mean, that's in a bank account.
Exactly.
It's got to be cash money.
You got to be able to get to it right away.
Right.
Now, she mentioned something about leaving your longtime big bank. Is that a good idea?
You know, it depends on the situation. Right now, most consumer advocates are so angry at the bank. They're like, get your money out and take it anywhere but them. You've got to look at your situation. You know, the credit unions are very, very good for many, many people. But some people, it's better to stick with their big bank. So what you need to do is look at what they're offering and what your local credit union is offering. There's a lot of little tiny micro credit unions that are just individual companies that they set them up years and years ago. Some of those are just a fabulous deal. And then there's some of the bigger ones that you see around, the big names. So check them, but don't just leave the bank because you want to punish them, because you know what? They're not going to know you're punishing them. So make sure it's working for you.
Unless you've got $1 zillion in that bank.
If you're Buffett, you can punish a bank. If you're Finney, you cannot.
I wish I were Spencer Gates.
Right. There you go.
And the credit card bill of rights, what should we be looking for?
There is so much going on with this. The best thing is, if you want a new credit card, wait till the rights go in on the 22nd of this month. And that's because one of the rights are when you get a credit card, they have to leave your interest rate alone for 1 year. So whatever rate you get, you get to keep it for at least a year. Right now, they can move your rates around. And then we've always told you to read that fine print that comes in the envelopes with your bill. And you've never done it.
I don't ever read it. It comes like every month.
I know. I have to fight it's my job, and I'm like, oh no, that's right. I got to read it. You've got to read it now because there's some wacky rule changes going on in there, and you need to keep track of it.
They tell you the stuff they can do to you, and they will do it.
And they've done it. And then when you call, you're like, what just happened? They're like, we sent you the rules.
Sent you the rules.
You saw them. So, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Didn't you get out a magnifying glass? Little tiny print.
Michael, thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Finney. Great advice.